There are only 2 countries in Africa that have never been colonized. Today, there are 55 sovereign states in Africa. Before World War II, there were only 2. The rest of the continent was colonized. Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, Germany, Italy. These 7 empires ruled almost all of Africa. But how did those 2 escape being colonized? The partition of the continent was formalized in 1884. The Berlin Conference regulated European conquest. Great European powers gathered in Berlin to sign the General Act. Historians consider it the beginning of the scramble for Africa. Of course, colonization had already been going on. By the 1870s, Europeans controlled 10% of Africa. By 1914, when World War I began, they controlled all of it, with 2 exceptions, Ethiopia and Liberia. Ethiopia, formerly Abyssinia, is an ancient country. It was one of the great powers in biblical times. Back then, it was called the Kingdom of Axum. In the 19th century, it was ruled by a succession of emperors. Its location in the Horn of Africa made it too remote for Europeans. The British preferred trade to conquest. In Ethiopia, they did engage in several skirmishes. Each time, the British won. Each time, they left it alone. The Ethiopian Empire was invaded by Egypt in 1876, but prevailed. 20 years later, it was invaded by Italy. Around 15,000 Italians and 10,000 Ethiopians were killed. The war lasted for a little over a year. At the decisive Battle of Adwa, the Italian army was crushed. In 1896, Italy agreed to the Treaty of Addis Ababa. This ended the war and recognized Ethiopia as an independent state. In 1935, Italian dictator